going on? Back with another vlog. I'm going to do, I think this might be part 3 to the Anunnaki. I believe so. But this is a continuation video on the Anunnaki. So I want to dive into that today. Speak about the Anunnaki. And so, as a matter of fact, give me one sec, because I was actually asked something about the Anunnaki, and maybe I think this fits right along with this particular vlog. Okay. I was asked to talk about the roles that Enki and Enlil play and how it's portrayed in religion. Okay, so we could definitely talk about that since this is an Anunnaki video. Enki and Enlil, we can say, especially when it comes to religion, Enki and Enlil have become the one God that we call God or Yahweh or whatever in the Bible. Now, a lot of characteristics within this particular God created, when it comes to the Bible, a lot of not only misinterpretation, but it's very man-made, and how they took attributes of these two different Anunnaki beings and created this one God of Israel concept out of it, when it never really was like that. When you get into the actual stories, like for instance, like and because they made it that way, especially when it comes to Old Testament, because they did it that way, it makes God seem bipolar. That's what it seems. It makes God seem bipolar. So let's get into it with these two different gods that had different viewpoints and different opinions in regards to overseeing and managing what we now call Earth. Okay, because this part that we call Earth used to be part of a bigger planet that was known as Tiamat, which the moon that we have in our atmosphere is actually a moon that is part of Nibiru's cycle. It's actually a moon that's from Nibiru. So that's something interesting too, but we're going to get into, I'll do another video on that later, but let's get into Enki and Enlil. I feel like there is one particular being who does not get as much credit or even adoration when it comes to being human and the human body. Enlil, who wanted to kind of control man in a sense, because keep in mind, people, like, humans were not supposed to, in regards to this particular worker or this particular being that was supposed to be in service to the Anunnaki, from what you read in tablets, and I'm only going to go by what you can find in tablets, and then maybe in another video I can get into a little more deeper intuitive stuff. But in the meantime, let's just stick with just evidence that we can work with, okay, that we can build upon. So it seems like that Enlil doesn't have any clue about creation. That's just not his specialty. His specialty is leadership, and his specialty is like strategies. You know, he's like a warrior king. So he's very strategic. He's very like almost kind of militant. So, I guess you could say that's where that kind of like he's like he's like almost kind of like tough love in a sense, like might seem a little harsh, but he does have a loving aspect to himself, and I think that part gets that part doesn't get really talked about as much because people are like, oh, it's such a bad God, and he's like, well, no, he's not a bad God at all. He's not a bad guy at all. I think we need to get out this whole thing of who's good and who's bad, because remember, man created the Bible. The Anunnaki didn't create the Bible, man did. The only thing Anunnaki created were tablets that man took and recreated and came up with their own stuff, their own religion. So that's what's happened. That's the truth of the matter. So Enki is the God and the only God who created humans. Okay, and you had Ninhursag, who's known by many names, but you have the mother goddess who fashioned man with her hands. So the two beings that are responsible for human creation is Enki and Ninhursag, which I'll talk about in another video on the Anunnaki, but I'm going to focus on just Enlil and Enki. So in the Bible, you have it where God asked, Adam and Eve, what's been going on, what happened, blah, blah, all kind of stuff. So you can say that is Enlil, and Enki would be the serpent, because let's think about it. The one who created humans, don't you think that they would want their creation to have knowledge? Because that was something that, and once again, I'll have to go into a more deeper kind of video. I'm just kind of just setting up the premise, and I'll do another video on Enki and Enlil. But you have a being that who didn't want humans to be like the Anunnaki in a sense on certain information, certain knowledge, because once again, this was only supposed to have been a being that was supposed to be specifically for working and being in service, not being slaves, but being in service. Understand, there is a difference between being in service to someone and being a slave to someone. And I don't find any horrific things within the tablet that even indicates that this was any kind of form of slavery. I mean, if you're in the garden and you're being in service and you're, being taught whatever, I mean, that doesn't sound like slavery to me. But keep in mind that, see, Enki knew information in regards to bringing in souls into bodies, okay? Which, once again, is something I might have to do that in another video, and that might be an archive video, because once again, you can only say so much within the public. But anyway, so Enki is also the one who saved Noah. Okay, so you have like I said, you're viewing God as this bipolar. Like, one minute he questions, like, wait, how do you know you're naked? One minute he don't know, and then one minute he's trying to save Noah, the next minute he's like trying to destroy everyone, and you're just like, okay, God. I know, to me as a kid, God seemed very freaking bipolar to me. Like, I'm like, he needs to be on meds or something. So yeah, then you have this whole thing about jealousy and stuff like that. So once again, you had the writers of the Bible. They took certain attributes of different Anunnaki beings that were considered gods and created this whole one God concept, and installed it in the Bible. So I talk briefly about this stuff. If you guys haven't got my book, check out the Book of Remembrance, because a lot of this stuff I kind of cover through my book, which, by the way, the audio version of my book is going to be coming out on Valentine's Day. So I'm definitely going to do a video on when I do release that for the audio, because I know some people might want to hear the audio. So what I plan to do is I might do something to where as a freebie on the audio, I might go ahead and upload a particular chapter here on YouTube, so you guys can hear it. So, give you guys a little sneak peek on some of the things I've written about in my book. So that's going to cover it for today. I know I really didn't get too deep into it, but this is just kind of like me kind of just setting up the, I guess, foundation part of me diving in deep into Enki and Enlil, and how, once again, Enki, compared to the Bible, he's the one that saved Noah. He is the serpent in the garden. He's the one that is trying to be of service and really help mankind really more, because this is his creation. This was his idea, was to create humans, and he needed the mother goddess along with 14 other birth goddesses to create man in the womb of these Anunnaki women. So we are very much like the Anunnaki, because we are created in their image. So when people speak about the Anunnaki and I hear all these crazy things, I'm like, look, understand something. If the Anunnaki were, these whatever kind of beings that people may think that they are, I truly believe that you guys are being really duped on certain beings pretending to be the Anunnaki, and you're getting confused. But and that's how I know, like, some people don't read the text. They just go off of just what they hear, or, they're in some 5%er group or whatever. And, it clearly states that, look, if something created you in their image, then it means that you look like them. How can they look something different from you if you are predominantly, the strongest DNA in your body is the image of them? It doesn't make any sense. Like, think about that for a minute. So that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the this vlog on talking about Enki and Enlil, and there will be more on this later. So enjoy the day.